Hi, it's Kristen here with another process video, and today I am going to be using Vicki Boutin's new collection from 49 Market. I'm going to be documenting a couple pictures of my son while we were on vacation in Mackinac. I ended up cutting the one picture in half. My initial intention was to pop up the bigger picture up on foam and kind of have the other picture look kind of like it's set behind it, but I ended up deciding not to do that, but I feel like it works out well. So here I am just going through all of the papers. I did order all the pattern paper. I didn't end up ordering like the more neutral cardstock, just because I've got a lot of like neutral cardstock that I really need to kind of use up, although I've got plenty of pattern paper to use up too. But you know, this collection was just too pretty to not get, and so I definitely don't regret it. I'm actually working on a layout today using some of this new collection too. So I'm just going through here deciding what I want to try and use. Sometimes when I get a new collection like this, I can be very hesitant to use it, just because I don't know, I'm afraid that I'm going to use something that I could use later on, or I don't know. I feel like sometimes the hesitancy is because it's new and, pretty, and sometimes it's kind of hard to want to play with it. And I really could have cut this part out, but for those that are thinking about buying it, I kind of wanted to keep some of that in just so you could kind of see some of the papers. I do have an unboxing video, but, it's probably about a good 30 minutes long, so I understand people probably don't have time to really watch that. But so now I'm just going to go through some of the ephemera. Now, I did try to keep some of this in to an extent just so that people could see some of the products that come with the 49 Market product line. It came with so much. I mean, it took me a while to go through all of the pieces just to kind of even decide what I wanted. So I'm just going through cardstock, I'm going through chipboard, I'm going through acetate at some point in this video. I did want to try to get some florals worked in here, so you'll see me looking at some florals here in a little bit. I pretty much tried to use as much varying pieces from this product line as I could get my hands on. And so here comes in some of the floral pieces. Now, I end up not getting any florals on my layout. For some reason, I really tried, but for some reason I just kept going away from it. I'm not sure why. I just couldn't find a spot that I really liked the florals in. And I ordered double the florals, so it's not like I'm afraid to use them up. I don't know. I end up pulling out quite a few pieces here that I don't even end up using. I kind of almost wanted this to be a little bit of a tone-on-tone kind of layout, which is maybe why I kind of kept going away from the florals. It kind of ended up, I just feel like the color scheme typically just kind of naturally starts to come together. I don't really think too much about it when I first start laying pieces out. So this ends up actually being kind of like a blue tone with a lot of black accent kind of schemes. And so that's why I think I end up going away from the florals, just because I couldn't really find any blue or black tones that would really, I guess, feel like it would really work well with this layout. I do pick out that floral. I actually really considered using that quite a bit on the layout. I kind of go back to it a couple of times as I'm getting everything mocked up. So right now I'm not really mocking anything up as much as I'm just going through and kind of seeing what I like and just tossing it on there, kind of in spots where I think maybe I would like it. This is a piece of acetate here that I'm working with. I do end up pulling out a little vellum saying, I think it said like Carefree Soul. I don't end up using this little butterfly. And this piece that you see me working with there, that was a piece of acetate. The circle is a piece, not acetate, I'm sorry, vellum. And then this circle piece that I tossed up there just a moment ago, that is vellum as well. Which if you've ever bought Vicki Boutin collections before, a lot of times she'll have kind of a variety of chipboard, die cuts, and a lot of time acetate pieces and vellum pieces in her collections. So now I'm going to start mocking everything up, just trying to figure out where exactly I want the pictures. I do end up flip-flopping this back again. And at this point, now that I've got all this stuff kind of tossed down around my layout, the pieces that I liked and thought would work, I'm going to start mocking this up. So it's a bit of a process to do this, but this is just kind of naturally how I do it. I tend to start to kind of build my page. A lot of time I'll toss a bunch of embellishment pieces onto it, kind of in areas where I think I might like it, and then I typically will get them all off the page and then figure out where exactly I want the pictures and then start to work again with the embellishments. So it's like I almost kind of mock it up a couple of times. But I can be a little bit of a perfectionist at times. Even though I really feel like scrapbooking, a lot of time you can really disguise any imperfections with another embellishment or journaling or... Now this circle piece, I was going to use the acetate on, that little wreath acetate. I was almost going to make it like a little shaker pocket and tuck that heart in behind it. And I ended up deciding not to go that route. I mess around with these circle pieces quite a bit to try to figure out where exactly I want them. And something about that big circle piece, I just didn't like how it was sitting on the layout. So I end up feeling like I like it kind of half off the layout like that, like it got cut off. And so you will see I will cut it in half and utilize it in a different way. So here I go, I cut it in half. I'm going to put a piece down there and then the other half up there. So I really like that look because I felt like that upper left-hand corner was starting to look a little stark, and I wasn't sure what I was going to even do up there at that point. So I'm trying to decide where I want to use this acetate, and I absolutely love it tucked up there. I just feel like that completes it, and it just looks like it belonged up there the whole time. So I'm continuing to figure out spots where I want these pieces. You will see me start to set some of these pieces off to the side just because I decide I don't want to utilize them. Again, here are the florals. I really try hard to get them to work on the layout. And it's not that they don't look good there. They just looked out of place to me. Like kind of, I don't know, a little bit forced, I guess. So I do take those off. Plus, I felt like the little green leaves were kind of getting a little lost in the background of the photograph, since it was a pretty similar tone. I'm going to get these star pieces put on there. I do move those around a little bit from like for the finished product. Now, since there are a lot of black elements on this layout, I do decide I want to pull in a little bit more of the black. And so I decide to do just a black cardstock border. And then all of the pictures I end up mounting on black and white cardstock. So I'm just going to go ahead and get everything laid out here again. This collection had so much in it. I did an unboxing, like I was saying before, not that long ago. And it took, usually I try to do my unboxings in like 20 minutes or less, just because I feel like, people usually are busy and have other things to do and don't want to watch, a really long unboxing. But there was so much product in there. It took me that long, even going through it fairly fast. Just because there was so much. I get these tags tucked back up here. I will end up cutting this acetate piece since a lot of it is tucked behind the picture and reutilize it elsewhere on the layout. So at this point, things kind of move a little bit more quickly since I did have that initial mock-up. I will vary things a little bit from the mock-up, but as I usually always do, but typically the elements are pretty similar, pretty much all there. These little buckets with the flowers in it, I had taken from the laser cut package, and I liked them there, but I just was not sure about them there. So I do eventually get those off the page. The florals in this collection were really beautiful, so that's why I was trying so hard to get them on this layout. It just felt forced with the direction that this layout was taking. So here I'm going to cut that acetate piece. And then these pieces are stickers here. So at this point, I've gotten everything glued down. And I'm starting to just put in some of the final details on this layout. And here's where I'm going to tuck that other piece of that acetate. I kind of felt like this part of the photograph was looking a little stark or bare, so I really feel like that worked out well to put it there. And see, I'm trying to get those laser cuts put back in there. Now I wanted to add something else to the top and the bottom. So this was part of the label strip or the branding strip. And so I cut it off and attempt to put it up at the top and the bottom and decide I don't like how it looks. Now I'm looking at the rub-ons. So I'm especially focused on the circle ones since this has a ton of circles on it with the little paint splotches in it. So I'm going to start to get some of these worked onto this layout. Now with rub-ons, I always will cut out the piece that I want rubbed on, take the backing off, and then I hold it up to different spots where I think I want it, making sure that I don't end up putting it on the paper, because sometimes rub-ons can, I mean, it can lift off even without it being rubbed on. So I'm always really careful, but I also like to kind of see where I'm going to put them before I rub them on. So this piece, I didn't want the circle with the paint splotches all in one spot, so I do cut the paint splotches out of the middle. And I will end up cutting this in half and using it, just because I felt like at that point this circle was too big. So you kind of see me thinking things through. So now I've cut that in half, and I'm going to go ahead and rub it on here. I felt like this heart needed some kind of dimension behind it, so I do end up taking some paint splotches here. You'll see me hold them up and decide to do it behind this heart. I do cut it in half again because, again, I don't want to use that big piece because most of it would end up being hidden behind the heart. And so to utilize it the best, I do end up cutting it. Just gonna get this little vellum piece. I'm very careful. I put like just the bittiest dot of glue on there because I really try not to have that glue show through. I decide that this part of the layout looks a little bare, so I do decide to do the other half of that circle rub on there with some paint splotches there too. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these tags glued on there. I hadn't gotten them glued on yet because I still kind of felt like there was something that needed to be added down there, and I just wasn't sure yet what I was going to put. So I feel like that rub-on really helped kind of add a little something down there. And I set these paint splotches aside because they're more blue, and so I was trying to stick with the paint splotches that were black in color. I'm going to cut this in half and go ahead and get this rubbed on behind. I'm not sure really why it took a circular theme to it, but I just liked how it looked on the layout, so I just went with it. I try not to fight against what my eye likes, and now I have these random paint rub-ons, paint splotch rub-ons, so I'm gonna just get those kind of scattered around the page. The rub-ons are really pretty, so I'm honestly kind of almost contemplating buying a second set. It came with 2 sets of rub-ons, so. And I'm just continuing to work with some of the rub-ons here. And I go ahead and do some paint splatters with some black acrylic paint. and here is the finished product. Now you will see in the final shots that I ended up adding a border. So I had tried to stamp Mackinac at the bottom, and I was going to put the year, and I ended up messing it up bad. So I tried to make it look intentional and just kind of messy stamp Mackinac as like kind of a border. So I was a little upset with myself, but I felt like it worked out okay. I think I kind of preferred it maybe without that on there, but happy accidents, it is what it is, right? So thanks again for joining me in this process video. I know it was a little bit longer, but I appreciate you coming by to watch. And if you enjoy my videos, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.